Hi, everybody, and welcome to the Arm Coach Podcast, episode number 20. Before we get started, I wanted to remind you that at the end of the month, I'm sending one of you a $100 Visa gift card. It's going to someone who has written a review for the Arm Coach Podcast. So if you're loving this podcast, be sure to leave a review on whichever platform you're listening. Today, you're going to get a gentle kick in the butt from me to you. If you're one of those people that's always waiting for the perfect time to sculpt your arms, lose weight, and start taking care of yourself, there is no perfect time. All of us have our favorite excuses. But I want you to realize that life is normally one big challenge, one after another. Waiting starts off for what we think of as a true reason, but then it soon becomes one big excuse after another. And then going to those excuses becomes a habit that you do. When we start something, it means we need to commit to it. So we declare our intentions, we say what we're going to do, we dig in, we map out our plan, and we begin the journey. But when we wait for the right time, what happens is that we start looking for problems. So instead of focusing on what's ahead of us, we just stay stuck. We look around us, and our tendency is to look for problems, not realizing that having problems to solve is part of being human. Problems don't mean stop. Problems just mean make a plan. Did you ever hear anyone talk about some goal they had? Maybe it was losing weight or going back to school, or maybe it was changing jobs or starting to work out or get organized. Most of us have these goals, but they're very vague. We don't really have a plan. We don't really have steps to take. We just have a vague vision. So when you actually hear someone accomplishing something, usually you're very impressed. And I am too, right? Maybe a little surprised because of all the things that we've said we wanted to do and never did ourselves. The main difference between the people who accomplish their goals and those of us who don't is that they begin. They don't wait. They don't wait for their ducks to get lined up in a row because there are no ducks to line up in a row. There is no there. There is no perfect. When I have a consultation with someone who clearly wants and needs to lose a chunk of weight, I'm excited. I'm excited because I know I can help them, but sometimes they're afraid to commit. And I'm wondering if you might be too when it comes to sculpting your arms. Why? Because when you think about making a commitment and moving forward, you may think that you don't have a history of succeeding and following through. So you may not have the confidence to think that you can definitely do this. I want you to know that when you're starting any project, especially one that you've never completed before, that it's natural to have doubt. Doubt in yourself, doubt in the plan, and doubt that the time is right. I want you to think about all the things you've done that required a leap of faith. Every day, you wake up and get out of bed. You face the day, and the day is full of unknowns, but you continue anyway. Why? Because you want to create something, to fulfill your obligations, to do what's right. But when you have a goal that's just for you, somehow this feels a little different, doesn't it? If you're a parent or a pet owner or in a relationship with any human being who needed your help, and if they came to you and asked for help, you would do what it takes. I know you would. And yet for you, not so much. All conditions must be go. All lights must be green, or it's back to the runway in a holding pattern. And life in a constant holding pattern from what you desire isn't really fully living. Sometimes you might wait to get started because you have too many goals or goals that are so big that you literally don't know where to start. And this may bring out that perfectionist in you. You know what I'm talking about here. Pick one small goal. Pick a tiny piece of that one goal and start. There's no perfect place to start going after what you want. The perfect place is right where you are. Wherever you are is a good place to start at whatever weight, with whatever habits you have. It doesn't matter. Women who achieve what you wish you could achieve only differ in one big way. They started despite whatever work was ahead of them. They started despite whatever doubts. They started. And despite falling down 100 times before, they didn't let that keep them off the playing field going forward. When you think about starting a project, naturally, doubt comes up. Also, ambivalence and uncertainty. But this is where you need to dig deep within yourself and reach for something further than you've ever reached. We all have mixed feelings about many things we do, right? And often those mixed feelings hold us back from doing anything. And while you're struggling and telling yourself that you're not ready, I promise you, someone out there with as many challenges as you is moving forward. When clients start working with me, I help them do an exercise that shows them all the reasons they might struggle. Together, we look at all aspects of the goal ahead of time. First, we take a look at the benefits of embarking on the journey. Now, these are usually the reasons that are easiest for you to access. You know why you want to sculpt your arms and lose the whole weight loss drama. You know, or you can at least envision, right, how much better you'll feel. You can imagine what kind of clothes you'll wear, how you will feel in your body. You can visualize how your health will improve and how much better you'll feel about yourself. This part's easy. But then I want you to look at what moving ahead will cost you. It's the cost of lifting weights and losing that weight. Wait, I can hear you say, wait a minute, you mean there's a downside here? Yes, you can have a goal and it won't be all roses and rainbows. Yes, all goals have downsides. They all have a cost. For example, if you want to lose weight and learn to not use food to feel better emotionally, then you're going to have to do several things. You'll have to be conscious when you eat. You'll have to make sure you're actually hungry, like physically hungry when you eat. And you might have to make changes in the quality of what you're eating. You might have to eat less. And sometimes you might even need to say no to yourself. Just imagine. These things are all the costs of moving ahead and changing your eating. If the outcome is something you really want, right? No problem. The cost is worth it to you. Of course, that's something that you need to decide. But looking at the costs ahead of time and spelling them out, and then deciding that it's still worth it to make eating changes, that is how you do it. So those costs are hidden and lurking in the background of your mind, making you afraid to move ahead. Let's bring the cost of doing this into the front of your mind, just like all the imagined benefits, but we're not done yet. I also want you to think about the benefits of staying the same, not making changes, not losing weight, not learning to manage your emotions, just keeping on the way you have been. Now, I can hear you say, but there are no benefits. Of course, I want to lose weight and sculpt my arms. It's just not the right time for me. I'm not ready. Well, what's holding you back can very well be that you don't want to give up the benefits of staying the same. Okay. The benefits like not having to become a conscious eater, like not having to wait to be hungry to eat, like not having to stop eating when you're no longer hungry, right? Sound familiar? Maybe you secretly dread adding movement into your life. Maybe you think you'll have to do an Ironman race or become a marathoner or, spend hours and hours in the gym to sculpt your arms. Of course you don't, but maybe that's what you're afraid of. If you don't change, you don't have to look at your habits. You don't have to take great care of yourself. You don't have to try and risk failing. Now that is a really big one. It keeps you nice and safe and cozy in your own little world, complaining about your arms and your weight and your eating, but not taking action. And the reality is that not taking action has a secret benefit, and that is you can't fail. If you don't try, you can't fail. So, what if you still have this goal? You still want to make a commitment to sculpt your arms. That's good. But there's one more thing to take a look at and be aware of, and that is the cost of staying the same, of not taking the challenge and making changes. These costs are silent. They may not shout at you, but they eat away at your well being. They demoralize you, they attack your self esteem, and then you lose belief in yourself. The costs of staying the same and not moving ahead with your arm goals and your eating are different for everyone, but they might be something like this. You get to eat whatever you want, whenever you want, however much you want, but your weight doesn't change unless it goes up. And you never say no to yourself. You can escape negative emotion by eating and put off feeling anything negative. But if you never deal with life without food, if you're an emotional eater, you're never dealing with reality. You're never dealing with your issues. So there are lots of reasons you don't dive in and commit, but it still always stays there under the surface, not allowing you to live your best life. Then I want to poke you just a little bit and ask you to ask yourself, what are you waiting for? If you're still telling yourself the signs aren't right yet, the moon isn't in the right place, your horoscope says not to make any changes, or maybe your family's not ready to support you, I want to challenge you because there are two sides to every dilemma. Now, I'm clearly prejudiced because I think it's in your best interest to take action and move toward what you want most. Which brings me to why you still might shy away from getting started and moving toward your arm goals. Fear of failing, fear of showing yourself once again that you can't do this, that maybe others can, but you can't. After all, what if that's true? I know you've heard me say that if anyone can do this, you can too. But still, you're afraid because what if you just can't? As unique and wonderful as we all are, your problems aren't truly unique. And the steps out of those problems aren't unique to you either. So I truly believe, and with years of experience to back me up, that if anyone can do this, you can too. But I get it that the fear of what if I'm a special case can keep stopping you. So here's what I'd like to say to you. There is no perfect time. This will work, and you will most definitely fall down several times before you get to where you want to be. And it's still worth it. Every single step forward that you take will provide you with new evidence to show your old thinking that yes, this is possible. And every time you encounter a blip in the road and work your way through it, you will be creating new evidence that you can do hard things. And eventually, you will get to your goal. But taking the first few steps are the hardest ones. And getting started, despite imperfect conditions, is key. No one said this would be a piece of cake. All right, I'm sorry. I couldn't resist that one. But truly, this is doable. And everything in life that's worth doing is a bit, or even more than a bit, of a challenge. Sometimes just getting out of bed is a challenge, and it's always worth it. So I want you to think about all the reasons that it's not perfect timing right now to begin your arm sculpting journey. I want you to face and list all the benefits of not sculpting your arms and dealing with your eating and emotional issues. List all the costs to you of embarking on a program. That's right. All the sad, hard, seemingly impossible reasons for why now is not a good time. Now, I want you to switch gears and switch your focus to the benefits of doing this, which we talked about, and the cost of staying the same. Acknowledge why you might not want to tackle this. Then switch your gaze to another direction, to why you do want to do this, and start looking for why this is the perfect time. Yes, not just a good time to start, but the perfect time. If you're here listening to me, you and I both know that you're tired of allowing your arms and your eating to rule your life. You know you're tired of having something to hide and something that when you think about it, you feel less than, especially when it just takes a leap. And if you think you're ready to stop listening to that scared little voice, waiting for that perfect moment, then go back and start listening to episode 1. Okay, learn to finally sculpt your arms and be that naturally lean person because the time will never be objectively perfect. I don't know anyone, including myself, who doesn't have several things to deal with going on at all times. Those perfect moments when the sunset is beautiful and the house is clean and your bank account is higher than you thought. Those moments are very rare. What's more common is it's family celebrations. Your son is having a fight with his best buddy. Your boss just loaded you up with more projects than you think anyone could handle. And yes, maybe it's the holidays. That is life, imperfect and full, and up and down and wonderful. So commit to yourself, commit to a future without worrying about your arms and what to wear and what to eat. Jump in and life will reach out to support you. And so will I. I hope this coaching session gives you a little gentle push to stop telling yourself that you're not ready to make changes. I hope you jump into the water knowing that things can only get better, even things that aren't easy, even things that take work, because it's all worth it. We'll be talking about this subject more down the road. And also, just a reminder, I'm giving away a $100 gift card to someone who has left a review on the Arm Coach podcast. So make sure to do that on your favorite platform. And I will see you all next week.